Westplex 1071. It's the song I sing to Shelley all the time. I'm not scared of you. I'm not scared of you. Even though you got a gun pointed at me.
That was only one time. Do you always have to bring that up? I thought we were past that.
I do. It's BS in the morning. I am B, she is S. And hold on, she's S, I'm B. I don't know. It works out something like that. Our website is bsinthemorning.show. Station website, westplex1071.com. You can listen to all of our podcasts. When we get done on the air, we magically take every word that Shelley and I said, except for the ones I edit out where she says the 4-letter words, which we can't use on the air. Put those on the podcast.
Well, again, one time.
And you can check it out at bradbs.com. Yes, bradbs.com will take you right to...
Because that's exactly what it is.
Yes. It's Brad and Shelley. That's what Brad BS is. Weather today...
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
What's the other thing?
More rain. Supposed to be, matter of fact, if it's not raining where you're at right now, probably within the next hour it will be. And it'll pretty much rain all day long. Well, at least till late afternoon, and then it should be out of here. Tomorrow, guess what? More rain. Boy, I'm looking at the forecast here. There's not going to be any sun until sometime next week. Rain tomorrow, cloudy Friday, cloudy Saturday, cloudy Sunday, cloudy Monday, rain Tuesday, bloom, 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 bloom.
You'd think we were in Washington State.
Or Washington, Missouri, one or the other. You never know.
That was funny.
I have to ask you something.
Okay.
Do you
expect an answer?
Oh, no. I don't have these things, so I'm going to ask you for them. Do you by any chance have like a folding lawn chair?
Yes.
Okay.
You do have one.
I do. Where is it?
It is at the station.
Oh, I don't know where it's at. Do you have like a folding table?
Yes.
Okay. Can I borrow your folding table, and I'll have to look around for my folding chair, because here's what I'm going to do.
What are you going to do?
I am not, I get it, and I'm going to have the smartest woman in the world is going to send me nasty emails, but I'm just like to the point where it's like, okay, what is, as of tomorrow, you can't eat inside a restaurant anymore? Isn't that what it is?
I think it's already taken effect. I think it's today.
Whatever. Casinos closed last night, okay?
Yeah, they did.
I'm going to go through the drive-thru at one of my favorite places, and then I'm going to go into the parking lot, and I'm going to set up my table, and I'm going to set up my lawn chair, and I'm going to eat in the parking lot. Just sit out there in the parking lot. What do you think?
I don't think that that's a bad thing at all. Take a
matter of fact,
because what we're going to do is we're going to start promoting small and medium-sized businesses, so that would actually be a good thing.
Well,
and then you could take a Facebook Live and let people know that you're supporting small business.
The problem that, and once again, and I'm not trying to, diss on government officials. Maybe I am. I heard a government official, who shall remain nameless, last night say, hey, if these restaurants would just have everybody come by and pick up the food, they won't have any problems. And then I read a story about one of the restaurant owners who reacted to that, and he said, I wish that were the case. Think about it for a minute. When we have a restaurant, especially a sit-down restaurant, we have multiple waiters and or waitresses, okay? And they are handling multiple tables at the same time. When we are doing pickup, we can't do that. And even if, and I said, the one guy said right now his business is about 15 to 20% pickup, that he doesn't think that he's going to be able to get any higher than about 40 to 45%, of his whole, pre-ban volume through pickup, because they can't. It's a different system. You know what I mean? And
it's an experience. It's everything. When you go out to dinner, it's everything. It's the food. It's the smells. I'm
not looking at it
that low.
I'm not
murmur of everybody. It's an experience.
Yeah, but I'm not looking at it from the respect of you and I as customers. I'm looking at it from the respect of the guy running the restaurant. In other words, and not only that, most restaurants, it would be like, take a business. It would be like let's say you're in the lawn care business, and most of the places you did were residential, okay, and relatively flat, and all of a sudden, somebody came along and said, oh, you can't do residential lawns anymore. You have to do commercial, and you have to do the commercial lawns in Denver. Well, not Denver's a bad example because Denver's flat, but like if you had a real hilly area, and all of a sudden you're going like, well, my equipment doesn't work real well on hills. Hey, too bad. Figure it out. You just can't do lawns anymore at residentials, which are all flat. You got to do hilly commercial stuff. And, and once again, the lawn care guy, well, I don't have the equipment for that. Well, you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out. You know what I'm saying?
I do. But one of the things did you hear about the $1 trillion bailout for the Americans?
Yeah, Bernie was talking about that last night. Yeah, Bernie. Matter of fact, Bernie was telling me he was going to give me one of his houses.
Okay.
I don't. The whole thing's goofy. I'm telling you.
I think that they actually should try to do something for the American people, considering they're going to bail out. First, they bailed out the banks back in 2008, 2009.
Yeah,
and now they're going to bail out the airlines.
But here's the problem with that, Shelley, and you know this up close and personal because it's what I deal with. They bailed out the banks, and yet the banks got to the point where if you don't have absolutely positively super clean credit, if you don't have like a business that's generating X amount of money, and if you don't have, the right haircut and a shine on your shoes, the banks won't talk to you. And to the point where it's like, well, hey guys, like you back in 2008, 2009, you were like in trouble and the government bailed you out. Whoa, just like, for example, First Bank here in St. Louis, owned by the Deerbergs. Last time I looked, they got bailed out. They got a loan from the government. They never repaid it. And the government said, we'll let you slide. Okay, if you and I had a loan with First Bank, let's say we financed our car and our house through First Bank, and we didn't pay it, and we'll go, hey, you gonna let slide? No. Move your furniture out. We're gonna foreclose on your house. Where's your car? We're gonna have Mr. Repo come get it.
But they say they're not going to do that.
Oh, and you know what? The Tooth Fairy will be by your house tonight, Shelley. And tomorrow night it'll be Santa Claus. And the night after that it'll be the Easter Bunny. And they're all going to come to your house. And they're going to leave you stuff. You believe it?
Mm-hmm. Oh, look, it's 6:17.
Oh, she's always ducking. She's ducking and covering. She's ducking and covering.
It's called ducking and... What's it called? Ducking and weaving.
You just don't,
isn't it?
Well, I see. Here's the thing that
no, it's bob and weave.
Bob and weave, yeah. Which once again, remember they declared bob and weave illegal. Remember the NFL said you can't do that.
Why is that exactly?
Who knows? I mean, now they read it back again. It's it got to the point where that's how everybody started calling the NFL the No Fun League. Okay, here you've got
I never heard that.
Oh yeah, the No Fun League. Here you got a bunch of football players. When we were the world champions, when we had a football team, and they did great, and they celebrated in the end zone, and they did a little dance, and the NFL went, oh, you can't do that. You're taunting the opponent. Okay, have you ever heard the audio from, like, if you, every once in a while you can find these online where, you see like the parabolic microphones that are on the sidelines that give you the sound of the game that they mix into the broadcast on radio and TV. You know what I'm talking about?
I do.
Okay, there are places on the internet where you can find just the output of those parabolic mics. And you hear the players talking back at each other. And they're not saying, hey, I saw your wife the other night. She sure is attractive. And the other guys say, well, thank you so much. I saw your new Mercedes. It's a good-looking car. They're not saying that. They are like taunting and trash-talking each other all night long. So it's like, okay, you can't do a little dance to celebrate, but yet they're saying, well, that's taunting. But yet they don't enforce the taunting when it's really taunting. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying.
But you don't care.
Not so much.
6:19. There she is again, Westplex 107.1. She's always jumping in on me.
Yeah, but she's always right.
Well, that's the truth with women. Whatever a man can do, woman can do better. You know that. You know how that goes.
I know that's exactly what you believe.
It is. It is truly what I believe. And
I know.
And people think I'm sarcastic when I say that. It is the truth. It's the truth. It's the truth.
Yeah. Until they have an idea that you don't particularly care for, then
no. Oh, I told you. It was funny. I heard another person on another radio station yesterday, a lady who, interestingly enough, I gave her first job in the radio business. It's sort of an interesting story. Is that she was at the time she was a waitress at Ozzy's in Westport, and I was out at the T.R. Hughes ballpark, when they used to call it, doing a Rascals game, and it was Ozzy restaurant night at T.R. Hughes, and she was there with the restaurant. She came up to me, "Hey, I graduated from a zoo. I got a journalism degree. Would you hire me?" I go, "You're hired." And she said, "No, seriously." I go, "You're hired." So I hired her part-time, okay? Won't mention her name. Yesterday, she was on the station she's on now, telling the story about how when she was coming to work the other morning, she pulled out of her apartment complex or house, wherever she lived, I can't remember where it's at, and sounded like she had a flat tire. So sure enough, she goes back and looks at her tire, and it's like half flat. Okay? I'll tell the rest of the story next break, which I thought was interesting because in light of the fact that I had the situation, 2-3 weeks ago where I changed a lady's tire, and as I changed it, I explained to her what I was doing, and I had another woman who criticized me for that. Remember that story?
I do.
Because of the fact, and once again, it's like, okay, because I was quote unquote, I guess, I don't know, talking down to her or something like that. Well, this is how I'm a man and I know how to change a tire, and you're a woman and you don't, so I'm going to show you how to do it. And that wasn't in my intention at all. Matter of fact, I tried to show.
If somebody was going to change my tire, I actually would have been very appreciative if they did that.
What, instructed you how to do it?
Yes.
Well, but see, the crazy thing is nowadays, it's not as easy as it used to be. In the old days, you had a big old spare tire in the trunk and you had the jack was all back there. Now, like, depending on what kind of car is, and some of the new cars don't even have spare tires anymore. But, sometimes the tires, like in a pickup truck is really tough to change a tire on. And some cars are like this too. Some of the SUVs where the tire is like on this cable that you reel up and it's stuck underneath the back of the car or, like under the bed of the truck.
And then you have to turn this butterfly looking bolt.
Right. And then the jack may be under the hood, or at least with, like, for a long time with the Ford trucks, part of the jack was underneath the hood, part of the jack was in the cab of the truck. And then you had to pull out all this junk from the cab of the truck underneath the hood and, unwind this tire out from underneath. And it was always like filthy dirty because of the fact that, you were, that's where all the dirt goes under your car. And then you had to jack up it's like, okay, this is sort of complicated. Okay. Anyway, I'll tell the rest of the story coming up. 627. Westplex 107.1. One of the, is that an adjective that's used to describe me? Delicate. I'm just so delicate.
You are a delicate flower, Brad Hildebrand.
6:34. Good morning. Oh, rain. If it's not raining where you're at, it will be soon. Large band of activity that right now stretches from the St. Louis area all the way back through Kansas City to the west and way down into Texas. Matter of fact, all the way down to Austin, Texas right now. And we are just on the beginning of it. So that's why it's going to rain most of the day and probably won't stop raining until sometime late this afternoon or early evening. But, of course, Jennifer
Wojcicki.
She's got the complete forecast. She'll be here in just a few minutes. Okay, so I'm telling the story. The lady who used to work for me, who's actually done, and I'm very proud of her. She actually done very well and works at a big radio station now. She's on the air, I guess it's yesterday morning or the day before, telling the story about how she woke up, she getting ready to go to work, she drives her car out of where she lives. Sounds like she's got a flat tire. She gets out. It's like half flat. She goes to a Quickie Mart, and I guess this is the thing that bothers me. She used the air hose at the Quickie Mart, but it didn't work right because she didn't know how to use it. Now, I'm sorry, but
she let all the air out of her tire, didn't she?
I don't. Well, I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm not trying to be a jerkazoid guy. It's like you grab the little hose, you take the little cap off your valve stem on the tire. You take the little nozzle, whatever you want to call it, the air chuck is what they're technically called, and you push it in so that the two little prongs meet up, and air comes out of the hose and opens up the valve to the tire, and air goes into the tire. Have you ever done that before, Shelley?
I usually go and have somebody do it for me.
Oh, no, I'm not going to go any
I'm
further with my story. Well, then she starts talking about how she calls AAA and the guy at the gas station says they're not allowed to leave the counter. It's like a Quickie Mart kind of place. And she calls AAA and they say it's going to be 2 hours. So finally she starts going through her phone, calling up guys that she knows that can come change her tire.
good for her.
Well, no, hold on a minute now. Once again, I say whatever man can do, woman can do better. And then she says, "Well, I'm an independent woman, but not when it comes to those kind of things." I'm going like, "Okay, come on."
So did you change your tire?
No, but once
Oh.
again, it's one of these things. It's like like I told the story with my daughter. I tried to show my daughter this. She could care less. I mean, if something happened to her car, I'd get a phone call. "Dad, my car." I go, "What about?" I remember one time. I shouldn't tell this story. It was funny. Something happened to her car. I let her borrow one of my cars, and this particular car had a problem with it that when you got down about an eighth of a tank, that really was empty. The gauge didn't read right. So she's on her way to a Saturday morning class, and guess what? She runs out of gas. And I told her, I said, don't let the go below a quarter of a tank. And she thought, and so and I felt bad in the respect that she broke down on 70, just east of 270. And, and I said, I told you not to let it go below a quarter tank. She says, "Well, I thought that was just something to do with the car. I didn't think the gas gauge was messed up." I go, "Why would I tell you not to let it go below a quarter tank if it wasn't important?" So she got mad at me. So I called up one of my other sons and I said, "Hey, can you grab a gas can in the garage and go get 2 gallons of gas in it and go, put it in Amanda's car, or no, excuse me, put it in Gabrielle's car on eastbound 70, east of 270. Okay, fine. And then she gave me grief for like 3 days about that. I'm going like, okay. And finally I got to the point where she said, I'm finally like, I'm not even talking about it anymore. To the point where I told you not to let it go below a quarter tank, and you did. And look what happened.
So did you get over that?
No, I've never been over it. It's bugged me. That probably happened 7 or 8 years ago, and it still haunts me on a daily basis. There's not an hour in my life I don't think about that situation.
Of course, Brad.
Well, once again, and you know me, I am Mr. Proponent of women.
Yes, you are.
I've told the story all the time about when I had my first woman boss, Karen Carroll, and I loved working for Karen Carroll, and most of the guys hated it because they didn't like working for a woman. And to me, it's like, man, she's smart, she's decisive, she's taking the station in the right direction. Man, I love it. I learned things from her. She took me under her wing and, and helped me with different things. And she was one of those take charge kind of people. And, nothing bothered her. Hey, problem, we'll figure it out. Move forward, forward.
If you have a problem, we'll solve it.
Yeah, there you go. She's like the ice baby lady. You know what I mean? She's the one that straight ahead. Hey, things that block our path. Just momentary disruptions. We'll figure out how to get around it. And and to me, that's what what it's all about. Everybody should be equal. Isn't that what everybody's saying now? Equal.
Yeah, everybody. Well, they've said that for a long, long time, but. It hasn't really come to pass.
You don't think so? You as a woman, you don't think things are equal?
For women or certain groups?
They're better for women now. Women have an advantage that men don't have.
They do.
Yeah, and
they do. They really do. But I also think that the pendulum is swinging the other way, where the men are the ones that. I'm probably going to get in a lot of trouble for saying this, but I do believe that the men, the average white male is getting a bum rap.
Well, let's turn the story around. Let's say it was a guy on the other radio station who, pulls out of his place in the morning, tires half flat, goes to the gas station, tries to put air in it, can't get it in. And what if he would have called up he grabbed his phone, he's a single guy, and he grabbed his phone and he's got 10 women that he knows. What if he would have started calling the women, "Hey, my car's got a flat tire. I'm over at the Quickie Mart X and Z, can you come and change my tire for me?
You know that would never happen, right?
Why would it never happen?
I don't know. It just will never happen because men like to be the protectors.
No. But let's say. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that a guy wouldn't do it. Do you think he'd get a woman that would come and change his tire?
No.
Well, then it's not just men as the protectors. It's women as, like, I mean, can you imagine? I mean, put yourself in that situation.
How many people did she have to call before somebody came over and changed her tire?
I don't know if she said that. I was there 3 or 4 or something like that. She said she called a couple people.
She said, so there were 3 or 4 men that said that they couldn't change her tire.
Well, I don't know what the deal was. They might not answered the phone. You know how some people are. I mean, it was funny.
Yeah,
I saw a post the other day by a guy who's probably, I don't know. I know who the guy is. So he's like maybe late 20s, early 30s. And he says, I've been calling all my friends to check on them with the virus thing. And of course, they're millennials and they won't pick up their phone.
But I could text them.
Yes, I'm thinking to myself.
But according to Dr. Trump, according to President Trump,
yeah,
the millennials are what is going to get us through this.
No. You misunderstand.
That's exactly what he said.
No, you misunderstand what they're saying. That's really interesting that you picked up on that because that's not what they're saying. They're saying the millennials are the ones that like to congregate. And, they're the ones that they don't go out on dates like with just a guy and a gal. They go out on like group dates. And he said,
I understand that, but that's not what he was talking about.
No.
He actually reiterated that the millennials are the ones that are going to get us through this.
No, because he said that
he said that.
I know what he said, but what he meant was they're the ones that can't keep up their behavior because they'll spread the disease. That's what he was talking about because he said that later.
That is not the...
That's
no.
exactly what he said. How are the millennials going to help us through this? Because they're the ones that are all hanging out like at the Starbucks and things like that.
Because they're the technology people.
And what good's
They're up on technology. And what good's up on...
And what good's technology going to do us with the coronavirus? Is there like an app on my phone that I can turn on and it's going to create a force shield around me as I walk around all day?
They can break out and bust out the social media.
Yeah, what good's that?
And
what good's that? What good does that do?
Well, I don't know, but he said.
I know what he said, and he meant the fact that they're the ones that needed to stop getting together and congregating because of this whole social distance baloney. By the way, I saw this picture of this guy. This is funny. This guy had a social distance disc. You know what this is? Watch. People will start selling this thing. You know what I'm talking about? It was like a big, monstrous piece of cardboard that was like 10 feet from one end to the other. And it was round. And he cut a hole in the middle of it and put like suspenders. So like he's walking around with this big disc of cardboard around his stomach so that nobody can get close to him. Get what I'm saying? He's got like a big...
He's like wearing a hula hoop?
Yeah, well, no, it's like a hula hoop. It's like a disc. It's like it's made out of cardboard. And, and he's got it on him with like suspenders kind of doomaflachis, where he's got like the things over his shoulder. And this thing is like riding around his waist. And it's, it's horizontal to the ground so that you can't get close to him because of the fact that he's got his social... the social distance disc on. I'm going like, that's pretty funny. And you watch, somebody's going to...
No, you can give jazz hands.
Somebody will... Well, what good does that do? Let's say
It makes people know that you care about them, that you don't want to hug them because of the virus. So you can just give them jazz hands.
Shoot me now.
So that's just kind of a way to say thank you and I love you.
Shoot. Yeah, jazz hands. Okay, Shelley, let me give you jazz hands, but I'm only going to use... one finger in each hand, okay? 645. Westplex 107.1. I just got a nasty email from a governmental agency that I'm not allowed to play that song anymore.
Why? Because it's whiny?
No. Dancing with a stranger? How? Oh, terrible. I mean, spreading virus, right? A stranger you don't know and you're dancing cheek to cheek? You're violating that 6-foot social distancing zone? And you don't know who that person is?
Yeah, well, I probably don't think it really mattered at the moment.
It's 6:53. Weather, like I said a couple minutes ago, if it's not raining at your place right now where you're at, it will be. Even some thunderstorms moving through the area right now. So, not a fun drive in for a Wednesday morning. Although, have you been out like in rush hour? Obviously, you and I can't go out in rush hour because we're here, but in afternoons we're not. And like yesterday afternoon was like Saturday at like 3 o'clock. It's like, okay,
Yes, it was.
okay, where's everybody at? There's no traffic jams. There's like where normally there's like long lines at stoplights. There's like nothing. I'm going like, what is going on? Is nobody out and about? God, did you see that in Orange County? You know where Orange County is in California?
I do not.
Orange County is essentially sort of to the south of the downtown LA area, and that's where like Anaheim is, where Disneyland is, and the whole bit. They've got a mandatory. I think somebody sent this to me last night. Let me look at this. It's a mandatory. What is it? Orange County, California has just ordered the first police-enforced lockdown in the country. Everyone must stay indoors unless need essentials or are providing, quote, essential services. Penalties include fines and prison. So if you decide...
Wow, are they issuing the National Guard?
Who knows? And you know what? To me, that's the type of stuff that starts to spread the fear-mongering. It's like, oh my God, Orange County, you can't go out on the streets. And once again, it's like, oh God, don't get me going. It just perpetuates things. And then the media just jumps on that. Oh, look at this. Orange County, California. Here, we're talking about it, but I'm making fun of it.
Is that San Francisco?
No. South of LA.
So this is another part of California that's been shut down.
South of LA, Orange County. If you look at the map where Anaheim is.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah. It's not, it's like along, I believe I-5 goes right, is it? Yeah, I-5 goes right through there. So, and like I said, it's where Disneyland is. That's Orange County. It's where...
Well, Disneyland closed down a couple of days ago.
Oh, yeah. Well, you can't have fun anymore.
Yeah.
This is...
Yeah, that's what this whole... It's a soul-sucking, fun-sucking kind of situation here.
Casinos closed down last night. And
they did.
And I have to be honest with you. I know people are well-meaning. If I get one more goofy email from people saying, in this time of need, like I said, I got the goofy email / video from the guy at Quiver River. We're promising that we've cleaned all our electric lines and there's no virus in any of our electric lines. And we promise that no viruses will come through your outlets in your house. I'm going, what?
They did not say that.
Oh, yeah, he did. Yeah.
I don't think so.
Oh yeah, and he had a special, and but it was interesting. He says, if you do have viruses that come out of your outlets, we have a special adapter, which is our Quiver River,
okay, now I know
virus-free
that you're BSing, so move on.
You don't believe me. Of course, Ameren UE came out and said, hey, well, we're not going to disconnect you if you're behind on your payment. But, Quiver River, they said, if you don't make your payment ahead of time, we're going to come chop the meter off the side of your house.
Oh, they did not.
Oh, they did. It was in the email they sent out last night. Yeah. You don't pay us, we're gonna hook our truck up to the meter box in the side of your house, and we're just gonna pull it off the side of your house, and that way you won't be able to get it fixed.
Quiver River did not send that to you.
They did. I got it last night.
Then forward it to me.
Right now. Here, hold on.
Okay.
I just did. You should have it.
Thank you.
Okay. 6:57. Westplex 107.1. Ooh, 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 ooh. How'd I do on that? Did I get it?
You actually did very well. Better than I could have done.
It's 7:07. Rainy. We are on the beginning edge of a front that goes all the way across Missouri in through Kansas City into the state of Kansas and goes all the way down to Austin, Texas. And it's going to be pretty much with us all day long. Rain could be heavy at times, some lightning, some thunder from time to time. So be forewarned on that. And our meteorologist, Jennifer
Wojcicki.
She'll be along in about 25 minutes to give us a complete forecast. Okay, Shelley, I am an entrepreneur, And
Yes, you are.
I am jealous of people that come up with great ideas that have like lots of profit potential in it. And they feel, because remember, you talk to some of these.
Oh, you mean the ones that I tell you about?
Well, who's that?
The ideas that I come up with that have great financial potential.
And when's the last time you told me one of those?
That would be yesterday.
Oh, okay. Okay, and if you don't believe me, I'll give you the web address. The web address is pdscenter.com. The first three letters, P is in Papa, D is in Delta, S is in Sierra, center.com, pdscenter.com.
Okay.
What do they do? Here's part of their website. It says, our primary goal is to increase quality of life through therapy, self-analysis, and enacting positive change. Our practice specializes in emotional support animal treatment for a variety of psychological disorders, and we believe strongly in the positive effects of ESAs, emotional support animals. So, you know what their business really is?
No.
They give you letters and cards which make it mandatory that if you have this card, you can take your rhinoceros on the plane with you, because and what they do is, and here's what you get. For $99 you get.
Yeah, I'm going to take my emotional peacock on the plane with me.
Well, but according to this, if you have their letter, and for $99 you get an airline travel letter, you get a housing letter, you get the letters don't expire. The letters are signed by licensed doctors. It's priced under $100. You get a phone number verification. You get a quick assessment and free shipping. Okay, so what you do is they have licensed doctors. Now, what's interesting is when I say that, what do you think? Licensed doctors, like MD kind of doctors, right?
Yes.
No, they're PhDs. This would be a great business for Dr. Deb. And so what you do is you call this number and you talk to a PhD, a psychologist, psychotherapist, whatever. And you say to him, I can't go anywhere without my dog. Okay, you pass. And then you send them $99 and they send you all this stuff. Now,
I think it's a little bit more involved than that.
I don't think so. There's a line for men right now, which we won't talk about, but there's a whole nother service for that, which is pretty much the same thing. Okay, so the rules are, the federal and the state rules are that.
Wait a minute. You said there's a line for men, so that means that if I needed an emotional support man.
No.
I could have one with me at all times.
There's a company that has surfaced that if you want the prescription for the ED drug, if you know what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay.
You have to get it from a doctor. You got to get a prescription. So there's a company now that you call up and you talk to, quote unquote, a doctor. Who knows if it is a doctor? And you say, hey, doc, having some problems. The doc goes, oh, I know what it is. I'm going to send you the stuff. And you pay the money and they send you the drugs because of the fact that you talked to a doctor and you got a prescription. So anyway, going back to this. Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
One of the interesting things on this is keep in mind, I say they give you a housing letter. Okay. The housing letter is that, let's say you have a dog or a cat and you want to rent an apartment, and the apartment says, sorry, no animals. Well, this forces them to allow you to rent because they can't discriminate on someone if you need an emotional support animal. So if I have a house that I'm renting and I say, sorry, no pets, and you show up at my doorstep and say, I want to rent this house, and I say, well, I'm sorry, you have a dog. Well, I've got my emotional support letter. And therefore, if I say I won't rent to you, you can sue me because I've discriminated against you because of a disability.
Well, I think that's warranted.
And
I'm sitting here thinking,
you do?
Don't do that. Don't do that.
What? Don't do what?
And I'm sitting here thinking, because I've got this new puppy.
Yeah.
And she is a great peer, and she's only 70 pounds.
Oh, only 70
and
pounds. Oh, only 70
she
pounds.
is such a lovely little delightful thing, but she does need training. And I'm actually
Yeah, but
thinking about training her to be my support animal.
okay, let's turn the thing around here. Okay, I'm sorry. I think my headphones cut out. What did you just say?
I think that I was going to train her how to be a support dog and be my support dog. What?
Okay, let's turn it around. What
were you laughing at?
Well, let's say you own an apartment complex, and let's say you just did all this work in your apartment complex, and you just painted all the walls, you put in new carpeting in all the apartments, and your apartment complex says, sorry, no pets. And I come along and I go, well, I got a dog, but I got an emotional support letter, and I therefore force you to rent me an apartment, and my dog pees and poops all over the place. And when I move out, you have to replace all the carpeting, which was brand new when I moved in. And let's say I was only there for a year, and you have to replace all the carpeting after a year.
So do they have to pay a pet deposit?
Probably not, because you can't discriminate against that.
But all places have a pet deposit. But a lot of places actually let you bring in a pet as long as it's under a certain
but once again, if I'm renting an apartment, like let's say if I have a house and I'm renting my house to you, and one of my things is if I say to you, I don't want you to smoke in there and I don't want pets. And you say, okay, fine. And then I find out you're a chain smoker and you got 10 cats. I'm going like, whoa, hold on a minute. I told you no smoking and no cats. And I have the right to kick you out because of the fact that if it's in the lease, you violated the lease. But if you show up with this letter, I can't do that.
Okay, what is your point?
My point is, I'm jealous of this company because they're making $99 for these crazy people that need emotional support animals. Is that you, Shelley?
I would actually go through an actual trainer. I wouldn't go through an online course to.
It's not a course. You just call them up.
As a support animal.
I need my emotional.
Because they're supposed to behave a certain way. They're very well trained.
Oh, Shelley, I don't believe
what?
Like that lady who tried to get her peacock on the plane. That was a very well-trained peacock, right? And the lady that tried to get her, gecko.
Actual support animals are very well trained.
But once again,
as are therapy dogs.
What this company is doing they're making it possible that no matter what animal you show up with, it's okay.
So they're capitalizing on stupidity.
No, they're capitalizing on the fact that the government says in order to travel with an emotional support animal, you need a letter from a doctor, and they're doing that. So in other words, they don't give a rat's rear end about what, they don't ever see the animal. They don't talk to the animal. They don't train the animal. They just essentially say, hey, you got $99? You want to fly with your dog on the plane? Yeah, right. Send us the $99. We'll send you a letter, and therefore the plane is forced to have you, ride with that animal. Now, the thing that gets me about
Has this been certified by the federal government?
I don't know. I mean, it's a company out there, and they're doing business, and they're not the only one.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. I mean, there's a lot of big stuff going on in the world today.
Go read the website. They say they are complying with all the laws. And essentially, what somebody does, this is probably run by some attorney because he's figured out, well, if I do this and do this and do this,
they do love their loopholes and their gray areas. Right. Do they not?
I'm compliant with all federal regulations. It's like once again, it's like the company. And if there are guys out there, and if you listen to sports stations, you know exactly what I'm talking about with this ad. It runs all the time. Guy comes on and says, "Hey, man, having problems in the bedroom," and it's essentially you called it.
Is it driving you nuts?
No. I haven't played anything this morning, so here, shame on you, because now I have to say, Shelley, I'll be honest with you, I have a problem.
Problems that were driving me nuts.
Okay. No, anyway, any guys know that if you listen to the sports stations, you'll know what I'm talking about. And the ad says, call our doctors and discuss your problem, and we'll prescribe the proper medication. So they got doctors. I mean, if you were like, a doctor. I mean, let's say you were a retired doctor and you wanted to sit at home all day, and and guys that they'd forward phone calls to you. Hey, doc, I've got problems. Okay, fine, we'll send you the stuff.
See, here's the problem with that. So if you're sitting there talking to a doctor that you've never met,
right?
And Viagra is nothing to be taken lightly. I have a friend that used Viagra, had never done so, and he didn't realize he was in the shape that he was in.
Right.
He had a quadruple bypass because of it.
Wow, he must have had some night, right?
Right.
No, but
I don't know. I didn't get into all that,
but you're exactly right. But what's happening is that, and this is the whole thing. For example, that building out there, which we kidded about the other day, the building that doesn't really exist, the Mercy building, the virtual building out there on Clarkson, just south of Highway 40, where they're doing the drive-in testing. Okay,
yes,
that's where medicine is headed. And Mercy's already doing that, where they have rooms set up where if you're in a hospital room where there's cameras in there, and the doctor just looks in on you with the camera and he talks to you. Hey, Nancy. Hey, Smith. Hey, Joan. Hey, Bill. Whoever you are, you're sitting there in the room, and and you go, yeah, doc. Well, how you feeling today? Well, he's on like a TV screen, and he's somewhere else. Already, they're doing this all sorts of stuff. Like if you go to the hospital and you got like X-rays, like you're in an accident, and they take the X-rays and they do a CAT scan and all that kind of stuff. There's nobody in the hospital that reads that anymore. That's all done remotely. They're just I
think it's been like that for a long time.
Oh, yeah, but what I'm saying is they're taking that to the next level, where the doctor won't even be in the same. He might not even be in the same state. He might be in another state.
See, I don't know how I feel about that. Well, I just don't. That doctor can't take an EKG.
Well, he can look at all
to test to make sure
that. But look at it this way:
that person's heart is good to go.
Well, let's say
for Viagra.
Let's say you're on telemetry. Okay, you're in the hospital and you're on telemetry. The doctor can look at all your vital signs right there. He could be in Hawaii, sitting on the beach with his laptop. Oh, okay, yeah, heart rate little high, blood pressure. Oh, you need to get that blood pressure down. Yeah, okay, yeah. I'll prescribe that. And boom, you're done. And he clicks his mouse and he's on to the next patient in the next room over. Or he's on the next patient in a hospital 200 miles away.
And you know what our favorite doctor is doing in this crisis?
Let me think. He's putting up a YouTube channel?
No, he's not, but that's a great idea. I should mention that to him. What he's doing is they haven't implemented this, but there's a good possibility that he will be closing the office, to limit patients. And then if he has to go to, if someone really needs to be seen, he's going to make a house call. Hello?
Okay. I'm not going to say anything. I'll get myself in
trouble.
I'm not going to say anything.
I think that's adorable.
I don't think he should be able to do that unless he has an emotional support animal with him.
Whatever. He's actually made a house call to my home.
Oh.
Twice, actually, for my mill.
You know what? I think that.
What?
You just gave me a great idea. I'm just going to, go to the pound and get a bunch of, strays, and I'm just going to offer, Brad's portable emotional support animal service, where, you're not feeling good. Hey, call me. I'll come over, and my dog will run around in your living room for 5 minutes, and we'll leave.
That's called a therapy dog.
That's $100.
Yeah, that's called a therapy dog, and they too get extensive training.
Okay, here's what I need. You know me, I've been sort of down in the dumps about the way things have gone with the goofy stuff and everybody shutting down, all the business being shut down, the whole bit.
Yeah, I know that.
I need an emotional support Corvette. I need a 2020.
Whatever. You need a kit car so you have somebody to talk back to you.
I want a 2020 Corvette so that when I get depressed, I'm going to go out in the parking lot and I'm going to jump in it and I'm going to drive around the neighborhood and drive it up on the highway and do 100 miles an hour and then come back to the office and then go, okay, I feel much better. And I want a doctor who'll prescribe that for me. And then I'm going to go to Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and I go, hey, Johnny, I got this thing from my doctor. I need emotional support Corvette, an ESC. I take that one right there. I'll be back in a month. Bye. What do you think?
I don't think so much. Mm-mm.
Okay. 722. Westplex 107.1. Hey, look, Ma, I made it. I can never say that with my mom because she never knew I made it because she wouldn't listen to the radio.
I bet she listened.
No.
Moms do that.
I'm telling you, she never once heard me on the radio, ever. Ever. Because she didn't like radio. Somebody asked me the other day.
I know that. I'm sure she just kind of sneaked it in and didn't tell you.
No. Somebody asked me the other day. They thought I was making that up. My mother, when back in the day, my mom especially, and God, I shouldn't say this because the car dealers will cringe when I say this. My mom said that if you went to a car dealer and you had bought a car off the lot, a new car, not a used car, a new car, there was something wrong with that car. That the reason it was sitting on the lot was because there was something wrong with it, and that's why somebody wouldn't buy it. And I'd always, Mom, it's a new car. Well, there's something wrong with it. And she would always order the cars, and she would delete the radio, purposely delete the radio. Now, you can't do that anymore, but that's what she did. So when she bought a new car, it didn't have a radio in it. And when I was a kid, like in high school, if I drove her car, and because that's the way I am right now. The radio's always on. So when you turn the ignition, radio comes on. I think that's the way it is with most people. And my mom would get mad at me about that because if she got into the car and after I drove it and she turned the ignition and the radio came on, she would say, "Would you stop turning that radio on?"
That's hilarious.
She hated the radio. And I'm going like, how can you hate the radio? I mean, of all the things in life to hate, and once again, I get it. People go like, well, radio's not what it used to be. Still, you get, 93% of the adult population listens to radio at least once a week. But yet, what is radio? It can be entertainment. It can be, music, like what we play, music and Shelley saying goofy stuff and me, saying all the smart things, right? Or hold, is that backwards? No, it's Shelley saying all the smart stuff and Brad saying the goofy things. It
was a little bit of both.
That's the way, that's the truth. Shelley's the smart one and I'm the guy with goofy ideas. No, and once again, it's to the point where it's like, okay, so she never listened, ever. Hey, Ma, I made it. She'd never know that. I could get her, hey,
I was looking at something. Do you know that Macy's has on their website we're temporarily closing stores and other measures in response to the coronavirus?
Well, let me go back a minute. One of my favorite things when I worked on the original KSLQ and then Y98 or wherever we called it, KY98 at the time, one of my deals was when I'd come on at the top of the hour, I'd say, "Hey, Ma, it's me, your son, Brad Hildebrand on the radio." And I always did it as a joke because she would never hear it.
I bet you she did.
Never.
I'm sorry. You think that, but
I know for a fact.
I disagree with that. I bet you she had heard you.
I know for a fact. My mother never heard me on the radio. Now,
why? Because she never commented on it?
No, she'd tell me that. She says, "You know what? I don't listen to the radio." That's what she'd say. And my grandmother was even worse. My grandmother, honest to God, this is a true story. My grandmother told me that I was imagining that my voice was going out over the radio waves and people were listening to me. I was imagining that. That really wasn't happening. That's not what happened. That people didn't listen to people on the radio. And my grandmother was, she didn't watch TV. She did watch a little bit of TV, but radio, what's that? Keep in mind, she grew up, she was born in what? I don't know, 1900 or 1890 or something like that, a long time ago. And, she was of the era, when she would have been an adult, the golden age of radio back in the 30s when you see the pictures of everybody sitting around listening to the radio in their living room, and you had Jack Benny and Bob Hope and, and all these people who ultimately made it on the television. And she would say to me, oh, God, she was nasty to me. She would say, you're just kidding yourself. If you think people are listening to you, nobody's listening to you because you're just that just doesn't go anywhere. That radio doesn't work. It doesn't go anywhere. Nobody can hear you. That's what she'd say all the time. Hey, thanks, Grandma. I had very supportive. So I had a supportive grandmother, and my other grandmother, she made fun of me. Oh God, she would make fun of my father like you wouldn't believe. Her son, because he went to college. She'd sit there. We'd go over to her house and she'd go, And my dad was the eternal student because he worked at SIU Edwardsville and he took classes all the time. He's an employee. He was a civil engineer, but he loved to learn. He was like lifelong learner, and he'd take all these classes because of the fact that he could. And she would sit there and go, Lee, you're wasting your time. Education is a waste of time, waste of money. You shouldn't be. And she made fun of him because my dad graduated from Washington University with an engineering degree. She just thought that was the stupidest thing in the world. And when I started going to college, when my sister went to college, she would say, we'd go over, and she'd say to us, are you kids still going to college? That's a waste of time and money. You really don't need to go to college. You can get a job anywhere. You don't have to have a degree. Education's so worthless. So here I had a grandmother who hated education, a grandmother who believed I was pretending to be on the radio, and a mother who never listened to me on the radio, who never listened to radio. Man, did I have a supportive family or what, huh?
Oh, Brad.
No,
I bet they did.
Honest to God, true story about both of my grandmothers. I mean, and she was, because it's sort of a weird story. My dad.
Was she progressive?
No, she was just, can I say this? And I know people go like, she was just a weirdo. It was her way or the highway, and to the point where she had my father, and then she got divorced from my grandfather, who I never ever met in my life, never knew my grandfather, and then she remarried and she had 2 more kids. So my father was treated as the ultimate stepchild, and his 2 siblings, his sister and his brother, my aunt and uncle on my father's side, never went to college, and she would always talk about that whenever my dad was there, and to the point where she'd go, look at how well your sister Shirley's done. She never graduated from college. She married.
Yeah, but Brad, you've been saying the same thing. Why do people need to go to college when we could have a trade? And all these people go to college and have all these bills.
No.
And then they don't go into the craft or business that they were trained to do. You say that all the time.
No, you're misinterpreting what I'm saying. I say...
There's no misinterpretation.
No, I say that if you go to college and get a degree which is required for a profession, or even a profession, or even a trade, that makes sense. Because I can't just show up at the Fort Zumwalt schools and walk in there today and say, hey, I want to be a teacher. They're going to say, well, do you have a education degree, a teaching certificate? No, I want to be a teacher. I'm sorry, can't do that. I can't show up at DePaul Hospital or Mercy Hospital today and say, hey, I want to be a brain surgeon. They're going to go like, well, are you a doctor? No, I'm not a doctor, but I think I could do some good work on brains. No, sorry, can't do that. Okay, but and once again, if someone asks me, and I get this all the time. I used to teach college, and people would ask me, if you were to do it over again, what'd you do? I say I'd get an accounting degree, or I'd become an attorney, because I can't.
I've never heard you say you'd get an accounting degree.
Oh, I tell people all the time, if you're going to college, that if you're not taking some kind of courses that you can use the rest of your life, you're wasting your time. These people that graduate with like a degree in Middle Eastern history. Okay, like what good is that? You can sit at home and go through Google all day long and learn about Middle Eastern history. But yet, if you get it, nobody's going to say, well, the only people we can hire was someone with Middle Eastern history degree. Like it's like worthless. But if you have an accounting degree, if you have a doctor, like if you're a doctor, if you're a lawyer, if you have something that needs to be certificated, licensed by the state, that's worth going to college for. But like in my business, journalism, I got 2 degrees, worthless. Nobody practices journalism anymore. Look at what's going on.
Clearly, by what's going on in the country.
Look at what's going on right now with all the networks and things like that. All the goofy stuff you read, all the stuff that well, it's in the New York Times. Yeah. So in other words, if it's and you remember there was the controversy with the reporter who wrote these stories in the New York Times, and they were all made up. Big long series of he was interviewing some guy who didn't exist. The guy was writing fiction and he was writing the New York Times. And I'm not saying everything is that, but once again, I know people right now that you and I know people that don't have a college degree who are extremely successful. And then we know people who have college degrees like me who are failures.
You're not a failure. So let's end it at that so it doesn't progress.
No.
It's 8:04. Everybody send Brad some love.
No, it's not.
He thinks he's a failure, and
No,
he's not.
It's not.
So
it's
go
not.
ahead and it's 8:04. And have a great day, even though it's going to be a cold gray bucket of suck.
Well, we're not done
But
yet. We're not done. We got commercials I got to play still.
Oh, okay. Sorry. But yeah, still send him some love. He likes that.
Well, see, the reason that I knew we weren't done because I have a college degree and you don't.
And you have the board that you won't let me touch. So, yeah, there's probably a reason why I didn't know we were not done.
Didn't that tick you off what I just said? Or you took it fairly well? Why didn't it tick you off?
Because I can't let the things that you say to me tick me off. I have enough of them.
Shelley is the most intelligent woman in the world. And when I asked her, what does E equals MC squared? She said,
The fox say, whatever, Brad.
And then when I said, Shelley, if you were going to change the world and you were going to clear this whole virus thing up, what would be your suggestion?
Ba-choo, 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 ba-choo. Aren't we supposed to play some commercials right now?
And if I said, Shelley,
oh my goodness, keep on going. That's it.
I have given you tremendous amount of information this morning. We've talked about this and we talked about that. Tell me what you really think. What do you think about what's going on with the coronavirus thing? Tell me what you think what's going on about like our relationship with China.
Which China, you know that they actually were celebrating yesterday because they were able to bring down, they've got the virus contained. And, well, I don't know if they have it contained, but they were able to tear down the makeshift hospital that they had.
Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got time for that.
Well, they do, and they did.
Yeah,
and I think that it's exciting.
Well, but what happened was they tore down that one hospital, and then they had to rebuild one of the rooms because a woman came up to them and said,
I got bronchitis.
And they said, okay, we have to build the hospital back up because
I got bronchitis.
Okay. It's 8:07. Where are those commercials, Brad?
Oh, my old boss, Joel Denver, just called me, and he was been listening to the show all morning. Joel, what'd you think?
It made me want to heave.
There's a lot of people that want to do the heaving. I'm just shaking my head, just so you know.
Our last break, 8:07.
Hi, it's Katie with Elite Heating and Cooling. It's time.
Westplex 107.1. That's going to do it for our BS in the morning. Brad and Shelley. I don't know about you, Shelley. I feel lucky today. I know yesterday was St. Patrick's Day, and nobody even talked about St. Patrick's Day. We didn't even say one thing about it because you had your green stuff on, but nobody talked about going out for green beer.
I meet him at the last place that we could have probably eaten inside, and he goes, "Are you a leprechaun?" I go, "Yes, I am, Brad."
Well, but once again, what happened here? We trashed St. Patrick's Day yesterday because of the fact that, Irish bar, all the bars were closed. Well, not all the bars, but the Irish bars, you can't congregate, can't have more than 10 people. You can't be within 6 feet of anybody. That kind of stuff. So, and I think that it didn't hit me honest to God, it didn't hit me till I saw you in green yesterday. I'm like, oh, it's St. Patrick's Day. I never thought about that. But in past, everybody, hey, we're going to go to heaven. Even if you're not Irish, what they say on St. Patrick's Day, everybody's Irish.
Yep,
but
that's what they say.
On yesterday's St. Patrick's Day, nobody was Irish because nobody celebrated. No parades, no nothing.
And I had a whole bunch of beads, and I ended up giving them all away.
Yeah, I still have my beads on from you.
I know.
I have
that was
Irish
cute.
Beads. Yeah. If you want to check out the news, we've got a new site up. If you're in the Westplex.
We do, Westplex.news.
Yes, Westplex.news.
It's everything that is within St. Charles County, and it updates like minute by minute, actually. from different locations and different influencers and different community businesses. It's actually well done.
Well, I don't know about well done. It's just, it's got
I
stuff
think
on
it
there.
is.
It's, if you want to hit the news, there it is. And
Yep.
and let me hear.
Anything in the Westplex.
I'll look at it right now. Here, I'll
Westplex.news.
talk it and say my phone's not going to work. My phone's got the virus. There's a story on here about the thing about this is from yesterday. Prohibit premise consumption at restaurants and bars. County executive announces timetable to prohibit restaurant and bars. 4 metro counties join to get the courts to move Missouri's April 7th election to June 2nd. Did you know about that? Yeah, officials.
Repeat what you just said.
4 metro counties join effort to get courts to move Missouri's April 7th election to June 2nd. Officials in
heard that.
Officials
Did they make that happen?
No, they're trying. Officials in St. Charles, Lincoln, Franklin, and Warren counties say they'll ask a court panel to move the vote because of coronavirus concerns. Jefferson County is likely to do the same, and St. Louis County will consider the idea. So they're considering the entire metro area with all the counties that they're going to move the election from April 7th to June 2nd.
I think that's a wise decision. I do.
I
do think there's a lot of hype about this, but I also think, my daughter works in at the hospital, so she's the first line of defense, and she says this is a real thing. This is the real deal.
What does she know?
She knows quite a bit, actually.
What does she know?
Okay, so it's 8:13. Everyone, have a great day.
Are you done? I mean, are you trying to call it off early? I mean, we're supposed to go till 9 during the shutdowns, aren't we?
Are we?
We're supposed to go all day. You and I are supposed to stay on the air all day long.
I can do that.
And say positive
but
things.
But that's not going to help the people that are struggling right now. Because what I'm going to do, here's the deal. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to go to small businesses, mostly restaurants, a couple of other small businesses, and do a Facebook Live with them. So you know what's going on with them, what they're offering, full meal, limited meal, or full menu, limited menu, curbside, drive-through, the whole 9 yards. And I want to try to get that going to let people know that these places are still open and they still have bills to pay just as you do. And that's my goal for today.
Okay.
And then, we're starting the Westplex Business Alliance, and that's going to get the word out about a lot of businesses in the Westplex area that need some help, need to still be patronized during this time.
That's what Shelley's going to do. I'm going to do today is I'm going to fly down to Dallas today, and I'm going to be, I'm going to get hired as the news center for the Dallas Mavericks, and Mark Cuban's going to pay me $13 million a year, so there's no income equality. And then I am going to go to, the basketball season ends. No, I can't do that. I can't play basketball and football at the same time. So.
Oh, so sorry.
Yeah, I can't do that. So then I am going to go to Washington, D.C., and I'm going to, hang out at all the restaurants in D.C. Oh, that's right. They're all closed. And I'll go to New York and I'll watch the plays. Oh, they're closed. No, I'll go down to Orlando and go to Disney World. Oh, it's closed.
Everything is closed. Let's just go on. But locally, these businesses are staying open for you, everyone.
Well,
so if
you can't come inside, though.
You can Facebook message me at Shelley Barr at KSLQ, or you can text me at 314-477-8835. Let me know who you are. Let me know what time that you would like me to stop by, because I'm here for you. We're both here for you.
Yep. And,
you all are part of the KSLQ and Westplex 1071 family, right, and the Westplex Business Alliance.
And if you need to get a hold of me, you can go to my website, HUGHJAYNESS. That's HUGHJAYNESS.com, and I'll be more than happy to respond to any requests, anything you send me.
Yeah, that's almost like, ask.com, but it's not. So just disregard what he said and just be prepared for the most charismatic and amazing man in St. Charles County. He wants to step up to the microphone and say,
ninth
my
anniversary, and
goodness.
Hugh
Bradley
Janus turning
Hildebrand,
10.
stop it.
Okay, I'm sorry. I promise. Go ahead and do it and do the intro again.
That's a pie crust promise, easily made, easily broken.
Do you know what? You know what we can't do anymore. You know what we can't hear. You know what? It's sad because you know what we won't hear for probably some time now.
What?
Yes, number 290 orders.
I
Please,
know.
Mr. 290.
And that's one of the things. We went to some place yesterday that totally was not getting the whole importance of this lockdown, basically. And I mean, they weren't wiping the tables.
No,
they were
wipe
packed.
they wiped our table off before we sat down.
Because you asked them to.
No, it was already cleaned. I saw the lady. The reason you pointed to one table, I went to another table because of the fact that the lady just got done cleaning it. That's why I picked that table, because she just got done cleaning it.
But I just wanted to say, when we went to Freddy's.
No. Whoa, hold on a minute now. You're making accusations. That place was very clean yesterday, and I didn't see any problem with what was going on there.
They weren't wiping down the tables.
But there weren't. I mean, it was like hardly anybody in the place.
That's not true.
It wasn't that busy, Shelley.
Not as busy as it could have been, but they had a busy time.
Half full,
and nobody
at
even
best.
knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
so.
but half full at best. Half full. Well, if people watch me on the 24-hour a day, 7-day a week webcam that I'm on, they know exactly where I was.
Is it like the Bradley show?
Yeah, no, it was the Bradley show. Yeah, what was the real one?
The Truman Show.
Truman Show. Yeah, it's the Bradley show. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'm online. You can see me sleep, and you can see me, sleep on the floor. I told you about that the other day. Dave Glover says, well, there's not one of you listening right now that doesn't sleep on a bed, so you need to buy this bed. I'm going like, oh, dude, I'm raising my hand. I don't sleep on a bed.
That's preference.
Haven't for years. I sleep on steel. True.
The man of steel.
True. I sleep on steel.
Okay.
A piece of steel. That's where I sleep. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, because you know why, don't you?
Do I want to? Okay. Why do you sleep on steel? Exactly.
Why do I sleep on steel?
Yes.
That's why.
Oh my goodness.
Oh.
Is it time to go yet? It's 8:19.
Well, I keep saying, okay, do the intro for Caleb.
I've done it 3 times.
Well, no, go ahead, do it.
No.
The building is on fire.
I don't think that we should be called cougars anymore. I think we should be called
the
made to be broken.
smartest man in St. Charles County steps up to the microphone and says,